life throwing you some curveballs lately? You know, like you're stuck in some crazy game of dodgeball you never signed up for. Well, buckle up, because today's deep dive, we're tackling those curveballs head on.
We're diving into the story of Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph from the book of Genesis.
It's a story for the ages,
Mm.
you know? Really speaks to facing those unexpected blows and finding that inner strength to not only bounce back, but to come out swinging even stronger than before.
And let me tell you, this story's got it all. Family drama that'll make your jaw drop, twists and turns that'll leave you guessing, and comebacks that'll have you cheering.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking deep betrayal, years of slavery, even a stint in prison.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Not even close. There's this amazing rise to success and leadership that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about overcoming adversity.
It really highlights how unpredictable life can be and how powerful resilience really is.
Okay, so let's rewind to the beginning. Joseph's just a young guy when things start to get complicated, you know, typical family dynamics, but then add in a little bit of favoritism, okay, maybe a lot, and one particular item of clothing that just throws gasoline on the fire.
Ah, yes, the coat of many colors.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about the coat itself, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
It was like a giant flashing neon sign that screamed, "Dad's favorite!" Just a blatant display of Jacob's preference for Joseph over his other sons.
And we all know what happens when you introduce that kind of favoritism into a family, right?
Oh, yeah. Sibling rivalry, that's going to go through the roof.
It's a recipe for disaster. Just picture it. You're one of the brothers watching your dad shower Joseph with affection and this incredible gift.
You're going to be drowning in jealousy and resentment.
100%. They see this as a direct threat, not only to their relationship with their father, but to their place in the family.
Exactly. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, Joseph starts having these really intense, vivid dreams. But these weren't just any dreams. These were some bold visions with him in a position of power.
And get this.
And his brothers, what are they doing? Bowing down to him.
Talk about rubbing salt in the wound, right?
Oh, he unknowingly walked right into that one. He had no idea.
Like lighting a match next to a powder keg.
Totally. You've got this simmering resentment over the coat, and then bam! He hits them with these dreams, confirming their worst fears.
It's like he just poured gasoline on an already raging fire.
And that toxic cocktail of suspicion and jealousy, that's the perfect storm, leading to a shocking act of betrayal.
And that is where we hit our first major plot twist in the story of Joseph, the pit. But this isn't your average hole in the ground. It symbolizes those rock-bottom moments we all face in life.
Oh, it's the epitome of despair. What makes it even more heartbreaking is that it's his own brothers, the people he should be able to trust, without question, who put him there.
It's a brutal betrayal. They take the coat, the symbol of their father's love, and throw him in this dark, empty hole.
It's a harsh reminder that sometimes the people we think will always have our backs, they can be the very source of our deepest pain.
It really makes you think twice about those family ties, right? But here's where things take a turn. Even in this moment of utter despair, Joseph's story doesn't end in that pit. And that's such a powerful message for everyone, you know? This isn't about pretending bad things don't happen or slapping on a fake smile and powering through. It's about understanding that even when we get knocked down, when we feel completely lost, it's not the final chapter. There's still a future out there. We just have to write it.
And then, because things weren't bad enough, he gets sold into slavery. Talk about kicking a guy when he's down. But even in this impossible situation, in a foreign land, thousands of miles away from home, stripped of his freedom, his family, somehow Joseph's resilience shines through.
He ends up a slave in the house of a powerful Egyptian official, a man named Potiphar.
Yeah, Potiphar. And this is where we really start to see Joseph's incredible ability to not just survive, but to truly thrive, even with life throwing him curveball after curveball. I mean, being sold into slavery. Talk about a brutal blow to the spirit, the injustice, the loss of control, the sheer terror of the unknown. It'd be easy to just completely break down.
Absolutely. But Joseph, he's got this incredible reserve of resilience, this uncanny ability to find solid ground, even when it seems like everything is falling apart around him.
He doesn't just survive in Potiphar's house. He thrives.
Thrives is an understatement. He goes from slave to, what would you even call it? Estate manager.
Right.
The chief officer of Potiphar Enterprises.
Something like that. I mean, Potiphar sees something special in Joseph, this incredible work ethic and a level of integrity that's rare.
Yeah, I mean, Potiphar puts him in charge of everything.
His entire state, and Joseph, like always, rises to the occasion. He surpasses all expectations.
But
Eh,
there's always a but, right?
Right. And this but is a big one. This time, the challenge doesn't come from jealous brothers or shady slave traders. It comes from inside Potiphar's own house.
Cue the dramatic music. Enter Potiphar's wife.
Things are about to get complicated.
That's putting it mildly.
Potiphar's wife develops, let's say, an interest in Joseph.
An interest.
And we're being generous here, let's be real. Joseph's in an incredibly vulnerable position.
He can't exactly just say, no thanks, not without some serious consequences.
It's the definition of a power imbalance. He's caught between a rock and a hard place.
He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't.
Exactly. And what does Joseph do? He chooses integrity over everything. He refuses to compromise his values, even if it means risking his own well-being.
I mean, it would have been so easy to give in, right? Anyone in that position would be tempted. But he doesn't. He stands firm. That's the real takeaway here, isn't it?
It's easy to be the good guy when there's nothing on the line, but true integrity, real strength of character, that shines brightest when we do what's right, even when it's hard, even when it costs us something.
And let me tell you, it costs Joseph big time. Potiphar's wife, she is not happy.
She's furious, vengeful.
Accuses Joseph of assault, and just like that.
He finds himself right back in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Falsely accused, stripped of his position, his reputation in tatters. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the point of doing the right thing if you're going to suffer anyway?
It's enough to make you want to just give up.
Totally. But even then, staring into the abyss of that prison cell, Joseph doesn't break. He finds that resilience again.
It's remarkable. And it's not just about getting by this time, you know? It's like prison, this awful situation, becomes his training ground.
That's a great way to put it. This period of confinement, of what seems like defeat, becomes a time of immense personal growth for him. He learns to navigate the complex dynamics of prison life. He earns the warden's trust, and get this.
He gets promoted to prison manager.
Right. Even in this place of confinement, Joseph brings order to the chaos. He finds a way to use his skills, his natural abilities, to make a difference.
Maybe prison CEO is pushing it, but you have to admit, the guy knows how to land on his feet.
Yeah, he does. It's in this unlikely setting, surrounded by the shadows and secrets of prison life, that Joseph meets two people who will change his destiny forever.
Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, right. Talk about a couple of guys who weren't expecting to find a dream interpreter in prison.
Their arrival sets off a chain of events that will completely reshape Joseph's future. It's like a reminder, you know. Sometimes those seemingly insignificant encounters, those chance meetings, those can hold the seeds of truly extraordinary change.
It's like they say, right? It's a small world, especially when you're talking about prison. But it's not just about who you meet, it's what happens because of those connections, you know?
It really makes you think about those sliding doors moments in life.
Yeah.
Like if they'd ended up in a different prison, who knows how things would have played out.
Exactly. So you've got the cupbearer, you've got the baker, and they're both having some pretty wild dreams, the kind that stick with you, you know?
The kind that leave you completely baffled. They're desperate for answers. And who do they stumble upon? Joseph, the resident dream whisperer.
It's almost like it was meant to be, right? Like fate had a hand in it or something.
Fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely at play here. So they tell Joseph their dreams, and he listens, really listens. And then he taps into that deep well of wisdom that he seems to have.
And what does he see?
For the cupbearer, good news. He sees a return to power, a restoration of his position at Pharaoh's side. But for the baker, well, let's just say things aren't looking so bright.
Yeah, exactly the news you want to hear.
Definitely not. But here's the thing. Both of Joseph's interpretations, they come true.
No way.
It's true. The cupbearer is back in Pharaoh's good graces, and sadly, the baker, well, he doesn't fare so well.
Talk about a testament to Joseph's abilities. But then just as quickly as he enters the cupbearer's life, he's forgotten, right?
It's a tale as old as time. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say.
It's easy to forget the people who help us when we don't need them anymore, isn't it?
It's human nature, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But even though the cupbearer forgets about Joseph, the story's far from over.
Because a couple of years down the line, Pharaoh starts having these incredibly vivid dreams of his own.
And not just any dreams. These are the kind that leave his advisors scratching their heads. They're stumped.
And who pops into the cupbearer's mind?
Joseph. He remembers that dream interpreter he met in prison, the one who'd been so accurate.
It's like a light bulb moment.
Exactly. So he tells Pharaoh, all about Joseph.
And just like that, after years in prison, Joseph finds himself standing before Pharaoh.
Talk about a turn of events.
Can you imagine? Going from forgotten prisoner to being in the presence of Pharaoh himself.
It's a moment of truth for Joseph. But remember, he spent years honing his resilience, his skills, his integrity. He's ready for this.
He doesn't even hesitate, does he?
Not for a second. He listens intently as Pharaoh describes these bizarre dreams.
Okay, so what were the dreams? Remind us.
7 healthy cows devoured by 7 sickly ones. 7 plump ears of grain scorched by 7 withered ones.
Those are some seriously strange dreams. What did it all mean?
Well, this is where Joseph's true brilliance shines through. He doesn't just give a surface-level interpretation. He sees the bigger picture. He understands the symbolism.
Okay, so what's the message?
It's a warning. He sees 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of devastating famine.
Not exactly good news.
No, not at all. But Joseph, being the resourceful guy he is, doesn't just deliver bad news. He offers a solution.
And what does he suggest?
He tells Pharaoh to find a wise and capable leader to oversee the storage of grain during those years of plenty, to prepare for the tough times that are coming.
And Pharaoh, recognizing Joseph's wisdom, his ability to think strategically, his incredible resilience, he takes a chance.
He puts this trust, his entire kingdom really, in the hands of this former prisoner.
And elevates him to the second highest position in Egypt.
Talk about a comeback story for the ages. But wait, there's one more twist. Remember Joseph's brothers, the ones who sold him into slavery?
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting. They haven't magically disappeared, have they?
No, they have not. Remember that famine Joseph predicted?
Yeah.
Well, it reaches all the way to Canaan, where Joseph's family lives. And guess who shows up in Egypt, desperate for food?
You're kidding. His brothers? No way.
It's like something out of a movie.
The irony is off the charts.
They have no idea they're standing before the brother they betrayed all those years ago.
It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
They plead for help, completely oblivious to who he really is. It's a moment of intense emotion, a culmination of years of unspoken pain, of guilt and regret. And this is where we see Joseph's true character.
He could have had his revenge, thrown them in prison, left them to starve. Who could blame him?
Nobody. But he doesn't. Instead, he reveals himself. Imagine their shock, the wave of guilt, the fear. It must have been overwhelming.
So what does he do?
He forgives them.
Wow. Wow. The compassion, the ability to let go of the past like that, that's something else.
It really is. Joseph's story reminds us that even when we feel broken, betrayed, there's always hope. There's always the chance for healing and reconciliation. It's a story about the incredible power of forgiveness, not just for the person who wronged you, but for yourself.
From the pit to the palace, Joseph's journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of forgiveness, and the unexpected ways in which life can unfold. It's a story that continues to inspire and challenge us, even thousands of years later.
It really makes you think, how can we face our own challenges with that same courage, integrity, and forgiveness that Joseph embodied? It's a question worth pondering.